So we're in the Maamar Hayeshavas Baganim. We're holding by Siv Beis. The question that the Rebbe was asked at the beginning of this Maamar is that in the pshat of Hayeshavas Baganim there are two different pirushim. Rashi's pshat, the first pshat that he brings in the Maamar is that Hayeshavas Baganim refers to Yidden being in Golus, Ganim Shalachedim, here in Elam Hazan, the lowest place. Pshat that it said, the other pshat, the second pshat that Rebbe brought, that it says desire, I believe, is that the opposite, that Ganem refers to the garden of the Eibishter, it refers to the garden of Gan Eden. So the Rebbe will explain the connection of the two pirushim. So we are holding a Sif Beis, let's continue inside. Okay. To understand the connection of both of the pirushim, page to Zayin, the next page. First, the Friedrich Rebbe explains in the Maamar, when the neshama comes down into this world and gets enclosed into a body, even though it seems that the only thing that's happening here is that the neshama is going into a place of concealment and a place where there's going to be a lot of challenges and difficulties, so there's nothing positive about the neshama coming into the body. However, al yidei aveda, when a person works with himself to reveal his neshama, meisera helen v'hester, you could remove that concealment of the body and allow the neshama to be revealed and the neshama to express itself. And even more so, not only this, al yidei yeride, through the fact that the neshama comes down, v'hislap shazu, and it gets enclosed in the body, hu mischazik b'yisrin kayach, the neshama can strengthen itself and have even greater energy. If it was only the fact that the neshama comes into the body, that it has the ability to remove whatever disturbance, whatever blockage the body places on the soul to express itself, and the only thing a person can do is remove that, so then what's the point? To come in to experience a Helen Vahesta just for the purpose to remove it and go back to where it started. So as it always says in Chassidus, the neshama comes down into this world for the purpose of elevating itself, to getting to a higher place. So therefore the Friedrich Rebbe adds that Adarab, not only does the neshama remove the Helen Vahester, through the Yerida it's able to strengthen itself even stronger. This is the Lashon that the Friedrich Rebbe says in the Maamar. So the Rebbe explains now this in here. To understand this idea that the Friedrich Rebbe says that on the contrary, not only does the neshama not get affected, not only does the neshama have the ability to express itself while it's in a guf, but even more so, Adarabba uses the expression on the contrary. It's dafka through the guf itself that the neshama comes to a greater level. What's the pshat in this Adarabba? So this is what the Alter Rebbe explains in Yigeres HaKadosh Simcha Chafei Divrei K'vayikdushas HaBaal Shem Tov Binyan HaKas. It's a long Yigeres over there where he explains the Baal Shem Tov's words regarding Kas, that whatever happens to a person, he should never get angry, because when a person gets angry, that shows on a lack of amunah. Because a person has to understand that whatever happens to him is Bashgacha Pratis, comes from the Eibishter. The Eibishter is giving chayes to the world every single moment, and whatever happens to him is coming from the Eibishter. So there's no reason for a person to ever get angry. And there, in that Igeres, the Alter Rebbe says, Kagoin, for example, that the fact that everything is coming directly from the Eibishter himself is so far, Kagoin, even in a case, Sha'ayimid L'Nekdei Oro, when a person is in the middle of davening, and right across of him is standing a guy, and he's speaking to you, and he's confusing you, is disturbing your davening. So what's going on over here? You can look at this as a disturbance, which is derailing my davening, and it's not allowing me to focus. So the Baal Shem Tov says that even in such a case, you have to realize what's the source. Who's really speaking through the guy over here? Where's the energy that the guy has to speak to you while you're davening? What the person should think about is, not only should you not at all be affected by what this person is saying and trying to disturb you, if a person thinks and realizes the fact, I'm in the middle of davening, I'm talking to Hashem, and a guy is here and he's talking to me, and what kind of significance does the words that he is saying have while I'm talking to the Eibishter? And by the way, even though it's talking over here about a guy that's standing, and that's the expression and the example that's given, but it's the same thing also if there's some kind of a guy inside a person's heart that starts talking to you. Person wants to daven, and all of a sudden he has lenegdoi, he has right in front of him all these machshavos that are talking to him. So a person, so this, he says, this is pashut, that a person shouldn't be nispal from other things that are speaking to him, other voices that are in his head, or a guy that's speaking to you and trying to disturb you, or another person that's disturbing you, someone else with his phone, whatever it may be. Not to be nispal, that's pashut. It's as simple as baininus. I'm speaking to the King of Kings, and here there's a guy that has something else to tell me. What's more important? Not only what's more important, does it have any erech, any significance when I'm standing in front of Hashem? And therefore you can continue davening as if the guy has not been standing there and as if he wasn't talking to you at all. So that's one thing. That's needless to say. That's pashut. That the person should continue as if the guy is not saying anything to you. All right. So this itself is actually not so pashut always, huh? To continue as if nothing happened, to totally ignore it and not pay attention to what's going on. One page to Zayin, it's in the middle of the page. Even more so, fact that he has this disturbance can bring a person an added energy, an added chizuk in his davening. When a person will think about what really is going on over here, is this the guy has control of what he's doing? He's the one that came and decided to talk to me while I'm davening. There's a galus hashchina that takes place here. What does that mean? It's the essence and the power of Hashem that through many, many levels of Ishtalshalos comes and gets enclosed into this guy and is giving him chayas. And the words that are coming out of his mouth are words that he has energy coming from Hashem. There's a galus hashchina that's allowing and giving the guy the energy to be able to speak to you right now. That's what a person should think about. And realize that the Eibishter is the one that's orchestrating this. It's not something that's happening from the guy that has the bechira to do this and is trying to disturb you. You have to ignore the guy. It's the Eibishter that's coming to wake you up. Could be the person was davening, but he wasn't davening with so much energy. And the Eibishter wanted a person to find a deeper kayach inside of him, to daven with more dedication, with more devotion. So the Eibishter brings this disturbance where the person's sort of, Eibishter snapping his fingers at you. Wake up and start focusing at what you're davening and say the words you're saying and think what you're really saying. Talk to me like a mensch. So the Eibishter does it in this way by bringing another voice that throws a shtus into your head, or a guy that starts talking shtus into you, and you start thinking to yourself, what's going on? I'm davening to Hashem. So when this happens, not only should a person not be nispal, adarabah, this should bring a person a teisvis kayach, a greater chizuk in his davening. So nimtza, so it comes out, shal yidei bilbul zeh, through this disturbance in his davening, misayred adam yaiser. If you pay attention to what's really going on, a person should be misayred even more so, to daven with even greater chayas. Okay, this is not really the place to go into the inyan barichas here, regarding the davening, but the Alter Rebbe in Tanya and other places gives a different approach, how one should deal with machshavas zaris, or a guy that's mavalvel. In other places, the Rebbe said, Alter Rebbe and Tanya, it's probably in Perek Chof Ches, I believe, the Alter Rebbe clearly says that the approach is supposed to be very different. If anyone is coming to be mevalvel of you, a machshavah zar is coming to disturb you, a guy is coming to disturb you, don't try to be mizbain and how could I get a greater energy in my davening through this. Don't even stop. Just continue going. Because the Alter Rebbe there explains, the whole objective of the Yetzer Hara when he does this in the middle of davening is to throw you off your track. He sees you started davening, and you're davening good, you're thinking, and you're involved in your davening, and he wants to just throw you off your track. And even if you're going to pay attention to him in a positive way, you're going to start being mizbainin and fight it back, and think about how great Hashem is, and I'm standing in front of Hashem, and what's the Yetzer Hara doing to this? Whatever is baininess you're going to have, now you're occupied with him. You are on your track, and now you're busy fighting him. You were in the middle of davening. Why are you fighting someone else? So he has already achieved this purpose, even if theoretically you are successful in being mizbainin and overcoming that temptation or that machshava zara that he threw into you, but now you're off your track of davening. Therefore the Alter Rebbe says that b'derech klal, when a machshava zara comes up, be masiach das, don't give it any machshava mikol v'kol. Just go right back into the words of davening, point your finger and continue davening inside. Get right back onto the track of the davening. That's the approach that the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya. But over here, the Alter Rebbe says a different approach. Here, the Alter Rebbe says, start thinking what happened over here, what's going on, and take the opportunity to use this for a greater Isaitis in your davening, to realize that Hashem is really pointing to you and then trying to get your attention, to be mechazik your davening. It's interesting. It's two different approaches. There's a Maamar from the Rebbe, Basi Elegani Tavshin Chavtes, where the Rebbe explains these two approaches, and the Rebbe there actually brings from the Rebbe Rashab a third way how to deal with Machshavas Zaris, and the Rebbe there explains Ba'arichis when each one of the when each one applies.
What time do you finish davening?
Next Tuesday.
I don't remember right now all the pratim, otherwise I would share. But he brings a third way over there from the Rebbe Rashab in Kuntras Atfilah or in Kuntras Aveda, and he explains over there Barichas.
He said the guy is collecting in front of you.
Just to.
I started yelling at him. I remember when I was
yeah.
Well, that's what Ever still wants. He wants that second for you to give him.
Yeah, but when you
okay, depends to what extent.
You
the minig in the Welt is that they give tzedakah during Vayivarech David. When you come to Vayisha HaKavim Ufanecha. And it could be, I believe it's actually based on also what it says in Kisvei Arizal, to give them the money to Hashem, because Vayisha HaKavim Ufanecha. But I heard more than once the Rebbe saying in Fabrengen that you should give the money to tzedakah before davening, because that's what it says. So the Rebbe said two things. First of all, what the Gemara says. First he gave tzedakah and then he began davening, not in the middle when he got to Vayivarech David. And then the Rebbe also said, Mizet b'mochish, you see b'mochish that if in the middle of davening you have to stick your hand in your pocket and you have to go and give tzedakah, so it disturbs you. It gets you off where you're holding a davening.
Especially when you're down to Yom, right? So you have a whole minion you're responsible for.
Yeah. It's not so pashut. The truth is, it's not so pashut. But I'll say, I'm not going to say who's right and who's wrong. But I'll just say this. It does say you're not hide madrege. Do this stuff hayach madrege. Yeah, because it says in Shulchan Aruch regarding different halachas that say befedish in the Gemara, where there's no argument about regarding davening, that some of them, I don't know if many of them, but some of them don't apply today, and the rationale is because today, since we're anyways not mechavan as much as they used to then, so therefore certain things that back then were considered to be a disturbance, today are not, because we're anyways not mechavan so much. That's so for someone that's matakim mechavan and davening, and he's so focused on his words, and for him it's mamish. So then maybe it's a question.
When I was a kid, that's really when I felt.
When you're davening for the Yomad, and they come to the Shliach Tzibur as well.
Yeah.
You need more focus.
People were responsible.
Possibly got a Tavshin Chavtes, yeah.
You can start giving you money.
Yeah, so the Rebbe takes from this a broader point, even though the Alter Rebbe is talking over here specifically what a person does when a guy comes to be mevalvel him in the middle of davening, speaking to you and disturbing you in the middle of davening. So the Rebbe takes on this a broader message, b'nigei to a person's approach b'chlal, how he deals with a nefesh bahamas that comes to disturb you in the middle of your avodas Hashem. Let's see. Similar point. The Mittler Rebbe explains, one page to Zayin, in the middle of the page. So the Mittler Rebbe explains, this idea is also explained already in Torah but there it's bekitzer. Aber b'Teiras Chaim Parsha Zu, in Teiras Chaim in the Parsha, the Rebbe said the Maamar, which is Parshas B'Shalach, Nizbayir Barichis. This idea is explained at length. B'inyan Vayi B'Shalach Parei Sa'am, the pshat of what it says right at the beginning of the Parsha, that Parei sent the nation out of Mitzrayim, that Kavana B'zeh. The pshat of this is the loy zubulvat shalehelem vehister klippus Parei. Not only did Parei not stop the Yidden from leaving, but Adarab, as we know what happened when he finally sent them out of Mitzrayim, might see ya. He helped, he pushed, and he was begging them to leave Mitzrayim, and they gave them along all of their money and cattle and possessions and all kinds of things that they gave along the Yidden, and they pushed them out of Mitzrayim. That's b'shalach. So the same thing is also when you confront a obstacle, not only should you ignore the obstacle and continue being focused to head in your direction that you're going in, but you have to realize that from the very obstacle itself, it draws out a deeper energy of the person to be motivated to go even further. And then the pasuk also says, which simply means that Parei was advancing towards Yidden when he was chasing them. But the Medrash says, V'isa b'Medrash, Hikriv es liban shel Yisrael avim shebashamayim. Parei, by chasing the Yidden, brought the Yidden's heart closer to Hashem. When Yidden turned around and saw Parei behind them, so Vayitzaku, they turned and they called out to Hashem, cried out to Hashem. So Parei caused the Yidden to cry and connect to Hashem. And even more so, that he teaches there in the Maamar when it says Vayihi b'shalach paroi esa'om shegam paroi esa'om. Paroi himself goes along with the nation. Not only does paroi send the nation, but the word es could also mean along with. Paroi is mitgegangen mit dem Am. Paroi went along with the nation. What does that mean? Of course, it doesn't mean literally that when Yidden left Mitzrayim, Paroi joined them, but what it means is all this holy sparks that were stuck in Mitzrayim, including those sparks that are so low that they're by Paroi himself, everything was given, everything went along with Yidden when they went out of Mitzrayim. As we know, when they went out, Erev Rav Ola Itom, they took out 202 nitzaitzes that were there in Mitzrayim from all the money that was brought from by the times of Yosef yet. That was the whole plan. Everything was brought to Mitzrayim from the money from the whole world, and it was all there. All the riches of the world was there, and then the Yidden took it all out of Mitzrayim to build the Mishkan and so on. So this is the pshat in the Friedrich Rebbe's expression in the Maamar. When he says the neshama comes down into the guf, and a person has to work on removing the hell and v'hester of the guf. Then the Friedrich Rebbe says, v'adarab. It's not just about removing the hell and v'hester, it's even more than that. Adarab sort of means, on the contrary, it's the opposite. Hainu, which means, not only is the guf not there to be a concealment on his neshama, ala neshama, v'yinisheres b'matzava. K'may shein hell and v'hester. Now the neshama remains in its condition, in its place, without that concealment. On the contrary, when the neshama comes into the guf, and there is that helam in the beginning, that brings the neshama a greater power, a greater energy. That's the adarabah. So the lashon of adarabah really means that these 2 points here, in a way, are opposites. Because when a person confronts an obstacle, if the approach the person has is, this obstacle is a problem. It's not supposed to be there. This wasn't planned. I was davening, or I was doing a mitzvah. I was doing something that's positive, and this obstacle comes up, and this is not supposed to be. I'm doing what Hashem wants. So the person's approach is to ignore it, to get it out of the way. You get annoyed by it, and then you realize, no, I should not be nispal. I should continue going. So the attitude of the person is to try to ignore the obstacle. That's the first approach, the first point. The lashon of adarabah means it's really an opposite approach. Realize that the very obstacle is part of the plan. Hashem placed it there. Yeah, you have your plan that you're going to serve Hashem and do the mitzvah in one way. Hashem wants you to do that very same mitzvah, but with more chayas, with more energy. So not only should you be ignoring that obstacle, adarabah, realize that obstacle is going to draw out from you a deeper energy. So it's not just to try to not get annoyed, but adarabah, the obstacle is intended, it's part of the plan. So that's why it's adarabah, it's sort of an opposite approach. This is the main purpose of creation. The idea is, there is a clip in the world, don't ignore it, you have to deal with it, you have to subdue it, you have to transform it. To transform the foolishness of the other side, und dem Koch von Nefesh HaBahamis, and the Koch, the fire of the Nefesh HaBahamis, und Inyane Eilam, and more to extend even further. All objects and everything in the world, Likedusha, to transform everything into holiness. It's not about secluding oneself and walking away from everything that exists in his life. Adarabah, to embrace it, to include it, to elevate it. Although it's explained in other places, when we do mitzvahs, what are we accomplishing? We're bringing about greater revelation of Hashem, not here below, but in the world of Atzilus. Why not here below? Because we do mitzvahs, and we don't see and experience the revelation of Hashem here in this world. When will we see that revelation that our mitzvahs are accomplishing? When Mashiach comes, then we'll see how it's Meisef Eiris here in Olam Hazeh. But until Mashiach comes, all that it's doing is it's being Meisef Eiris Ba'atzilus. So over here we're saying the whole purpose is Dafka Olam Hazeh and it's Hapche and the Shtus of Lumazeh and to Kedusha, but L'chayre we can't accomplish that now. So he Nekvarnis Bar Le'el, this idea was already explained in the previous Maamar. The essence of a mitzvah, the essence of a person's avodah is the effect that he has in this world. Even if until Mashiach comes, it's concealed, we don't realize and we don't see what we're doing, but really the essence of it is the accomplishment over here in this world. As the Tzemach Tzedek says, and the Rebbe Marash says, the greater lights, the greater revelations that we draw down through doing a mitzvah that are all in the world of Atzilos, it's like something that you have that's in a
Your bank account.
bank account upstairs, or it's gift wrapped. You have a gift and it's gift wrapped and it hasn't been unwrapped yet. It hasn't been revealed yet. The purpose is not to leave it wrapped in a box, but the purpose is then to unwrap it and bring it down to Olam Hazeh. Because Olam Hazeh is not yet a keli for it, the world is not fully refined yet, so the Eibishter's glory cannot be revealed here below. So whatever you're drawing down remains, so to speak, stuck, remains only in the spiritual world. Doesn't come down to be revealed physically for us to see here. But really the purpose is dafki here below. And when it's going to be revealed below, that's the essence of what the mitzvah is supposed to accomplish. As long as it stays in the ruchnisdige worlds, it stays in the realm of giluyim, in the place where there's expressions of Hashem's existence. As we learned in the previous Maamar, the atzmi, the essence of Hashem, is revealed dafki here below in this world, not in the ruchnisdige worlds above. The ikeshchen, as the Rebbe says over here, not only she'ikar agiluy, ikeshchen, the main place where you have the primary presence of Hashem. U'ba'olam hazeh is dafka once it comes down here into this physical world. As we learned before from the Maamar of the Rebbe Rasha Barucha, Pirish in Yinikishchine, what the Pshat of Ikishchine means, it goes up to the highest levels before Tzimtzum. So that's, and where is that revealed? Where is Ikishchine revealed? Dafka over here in Olam Hazeh, not in any of the Ruchnisdige worlds. The point is even more than this. Everything that happens here below affects the worlds below, above as well. There's the word of the Alter Rebbe, and the Magid also said similar to this. The Pirish Maamar Azal and the Pshat of what it says in the Mishnah. Know who's above you. That's the simple Pshat of the Mishnah. Know that the Eibishter is above you, always looking over you. So the Magid and the Alter Rebbe teach, you should know, Asher ma l'mayla, whatever there is above in the spiritual worlds, kol anyanim shalamayla, whatever goes on in the spiritual worlds, mimcha b'cha davatali. It's all dependent and up to you. Which means that besides the point that we're saying here, that the main kavanah is Olam Hazeh. And when a Yid does a mitzvah, he brings and reveals the presence of the essence of Hashem here in Olam Hazeh. Through us doing the mitzvahs over here in this world, we also bring a maila to what exists in Olam Yisrael. We cause a cosmic explosion, what should we call it? Some kind of a giluyim that exists over there in Lamaila as well. Because ultimately, I mentioned this when we learned the previous Maamar, ultimately the purpose of everything is Olam Hazeh. Everything, let's take the mashal like the way it is beneged to the mitzias of a person. Just like it talks out here in the Maamar about Atzilus and Olam Hazeh in the world in general, it's the same thing also within the person himself. There's the Atzilus aspect of the person, which means the spiritual aspect of the person, his seichel, his midas, his relationship to Hashem, which is an ava v'yireh. That's the ruchnisdige aspect of your relationship. Then there's the ma'aseh b'poyel, the physical action that I do a mitzvah. There's no spirituality in the physical action itself. If you separate it from the ava v'yireh, the physical action is just a ma'aseh. That's all. Till Mashiach comes, when we look at the way we do a mitzvah today, what do we see as the mile of the mitzvah? Where do we see the relationship? Where do we see the connection? The Ava V'Yireh is that relationship. That's the feeling that I'm connected to Hashem. What's the action of the mitzvah? If you love Hashem, you're in awe of Hashem, so it comes down and it's expressed in your machshava, in your dibur, in your ma'aseh. You're ready to do what He wants. You're ready to listen to Him. The fact that we do mitzvahs today, the way we see our mitzvahs, the way we feel our relationship to Hashem through the action that we do, is that the action is expressing that relationship, that feeling that I have in my heart that I'm a Yid and I have to do a mitzvah. How about the ma'aseh itself? Not the fact that the ma'aseh expresses the love for Hashem that I have. Just the etzem physical action itself of putting on tefillin or whatever physical mitzvah it is. The physical coin a person places in tzedakah. Look at the action itself. We don't see in the action a relationship to Hashem, the power of the essence of Hashem in the physical action itself. That's what it means here when it says that today, when we do mitzvahs, we're mamshech eiris ba'atzilus. Which means today, all we could experience in our mitzvah is that when a person does a mitzvah with a chayas, with an energy, with a geschmack, so then he feels the relationship in the mitzvah in the ruchnisdige aspect of the mitzvah. To appreciate and really understand the maila of the etzem gashmi of the mitzvah. Besides the spiritual part of it, just the etzem maisa itself, not only is it also part of the mitzvah, but that is the whole point. The Gashmi itself is the very essence of Hashem that completely is beyond whatever Ruchni's relationship could be. That's something that we will only sense and realize, L'asad Lavai. That's something we can't realize today, and that's the point that he's saying. It's Kimunachim B'Kufsa. Today we see it. This is also connected to the famous Gemara that says in Kedushin, the whole discussion of what's greater, Talmud or Maisa, learning Torah or doing the action of the mitzvah. So the Gemara's conclusion over there is Gadol Talmud Shemei V'Ledei Maisa. Learning Torah is greater because it brings a person to do the Maisa. Which means that ultimately the Gemara itself is saying that the Maisa is the Iker. But the way we see the Maisa Iker today is in the world of Torah, because Torah is spiritual. To see the Maila of Maisa for itself, that's only L'asad Lavai. L'asad Lavai, it says, then will be Maisa God, will realize how the Gashmi itself has the very essence of Hashem invested in it. And not only that, the Rebbe says an additional point. Once you reveal the koyach of Atzmos in the Maisa itself, that will also reveal how all the Ruchnis, the worlds as well, Dama L'mayla, that even what exists L'mayla, is also Mimach, is also being affected and is also being elevated through revealing Atzmos in this physical world.
He says that the Eiris in Atzilus, but then he says V'loisu Govrad she'ikar gilo ikar shkana b'ayla ma'aseh.
Yeah.
So how is it in Atzilus? It's all in Atzilus.
He's talking about two different things. When he talks about Ikar Shchina, he's talking about the Atzmisdige revelation, or the Atzmus of Hashem, even more than revelation, that's Dafkin Olam Haza. That's not an Atzilus. But then besides that, he says, afterwards he says that the Giluyim, there is an Atzilus. The Atzmus of the Eibishter, the real Giluy, or the Atzmus of the Eibishter, that's Dafke here. That's where the main kavanah is. Okay.